Guys, stop apologizing for being proud of yourself. Sometimes people that talk to me, they'll be like, oh my God, they'll be like, I'm sorry, man. I feel like I'm just talking about myself. I'm like, hey man, listen, it's okay to believe in yourself around me, buddy. Okay? You're giving me hope. When good shit happens to people, I get hopeful. Cause that's the positive about being selfish.
Welcome to FredTalk, where if you're not learning, hopefully you're laughing.
Big kid energy. Welcome to the FredTalk podcast. I am your host, Freddie Valoy. This is a podcast where, if you've been following it the last few episodes, I've been struggling to figure out what to say the podcast is about. When people ask me, I almost always have a different answer. And I'm going to say this right now. This is a Zest for Life podcast. What does that mean? That means we got curiosity. We're coming at you from different things, different interests, all with the same foundation of just like philosophy. Like, if we can pull one or two things and get the job done, that's what this is. You learn one new thing, a podcast, or you just laugh. That's it. We're covering the silly shit all the way to the depths of humanity, right? This is the Zest for Life podcast. Welcome to FredTalk, baby. I hope you're doing well. Remember, guys, support our FredTalk sponsor, ownthechaos.com, where you can sign up for their stock watch list. That's where they send you a daily email of the 5 stocks to watch that day. Get your money right. I'm on their show every Thursday at 3:30 live streaming. We're covering financial news. We're making finance fun again, like it was in the 80s when cocaine was around. Remember those days? Anybody listening to this? That was cocaine was the startup of the 80s. That was the energy it was. The same energy when the startups first popped up recently in the last decade or 15 years. That's the energy that cocaine had. Cocaine was just the fucking de facto startup of the 80s, all right? So shout out to anybody who got to enjoy it those days, because nowadays you can't do cocaine with the fentanyl, right? Can't even have fun anymore. How are our kids supposed to learn, huh? How are our kids supposed to learn if they can't safely do recreational drugs, recreational hard drugs, you know? They're not going to learn that lesson of being up at 8 o'clock in the morning the next day watching the school buses go by and you go, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Those are character building moments. I am pro cocaine. I tell people, go do cocaine. It'll make you a better husband. There's a window. Sometimes there's a window and you can miss it. I'm saying you got in early 20s, mid 20s. If you have already a history of addiction, this isn't for you. This is for other people that just need to maybe learn some lessons the hard way. Okay? It'll make you a better father, a better friend. You'll live life on the edge. You'll have conversations. You'll make promises you won't even keep, and that'll be okay. All right. But now our kids can't even do that. They're going to develop some new drug in the lab, you know, which isn't always bad. LSD was made in a lab, and that one's great. That's the one lab made thing people are like, okay, all right. The lab crushed it there. You know what I'm saying? Like, the lab crushed it. Men are wearing purses right now. And I'm loving it. I'm loving every second of it because I hate carrying shit in my pockets. Am I right? Who's with me on this? Those crossbodies. Let's call them purses, bro. We ain't got to come up with a man version of it. Don't call it a merce. Don't just add an M. Adding an M at the beginning of something doesn't make it manly, okay? We got purses now. We could carry shit. We don't have to carry shit in our pockets, bro. And honestly, like, it started off as function for me. Now it's like a style thing, bro. I fucking love it. First time I got put onto it was from my father. He's a very jacked, like, just fucking jacked up Dominican dude, very like manly, you know. He was a bodybuilder. He was really strong because he was a bodybuilder, and he also did 18 years in prison. So I don't know which one who did the heavy lifting there. He went into jail with a strong base already, is what I'm saying. So he comes out of prison and I see him with a man purse, and I'm like, oh, let me hit him in the manhood, right? Let me make fun of him. So I'm like, nigga, you a bitch. Nigga got a purse. Nigga, you a bitch. And then he pulls a gun out of his man purse. And I was like, oh my God, sir, I was the closed-minded one. Okay. You just helped my perspective there, sir. That was very eye-opening. And that's when I was like, man, maybe the man purse ain't that bad, you know? You can't judge a book by its cover, you know? Now I'm carrying notebooks and pens and fucking mints. I'm fucking giving out gum. I just got treats. I'm just packing the bag like a fucking, like, you know when a child gets a new backpack and they just want to put things in it? That's what I'm doing. That's what we doing out here. Man purses are in. And speaking of man purses, guys, Joe Rogan just had Sanjay Gupta on his podcast, and it's Joe Rogan's been getting some heat from the left, dude. And I honestly, I talked to a buddy the other day, and he was like, "There's this weird thing of like, it's like cool to shit on Joe Rogan." And I haven't been listening to his podcast as much especially ever since he switched over to Spotify. And before that, I just listened to less because my podcast interest shifted more to like heavy comedy. Not necessarily like the intellectuals that Joe Rogan has on or whatever. And I shifted, so I haven't been listening, and people have been saying he's been like this right-wing dude, blah, blah, blah. Talking to a buddy, he said the last like year or so, it's been heavy right-wing. So I go home that night and I check the last, like up until, I didn't think the last 4 months. And there was like maybe one person that was like right-wing, but it's just, he has people on and they speak about different things. And that seems to really, really bother people, especially if you subscribe to like mainstream, like liberal media type shit. Now, I'm not trying to be like, oh, this, but there are clearly agendas being pushed. Fox News pushes the right wing agenda, and CNN, MSNBC, they push a more left wing agenda. And like they're pushing an agenda. What does that mean? What that means is that they will tactfully lie, or, you know, so that they don't get super in trouble, but they will tactfully lie to frame a story in a way dishonestly to push their narrative. Or they won't choose to, you know, tell, you know, they won't choose to tell you about other things going on that may make their party look bad. And I don't like that. You know, I watch them because you got to see what other people are watching, and you can pull things, but it's not, there's this weird anti-Joe Rogan thing going on. And I think it's unfounded. Same way with the Jordan Peterson shit. Jordan Peterson has been touted as this like right-wing Nazi type dude. No, I've read his book and I've listened to hours of his lecture. Now, I haven't listened to anything of his in the last year or so, but I always ask these people, what did he say? They can never tell me what he said. So don't get fucking caught up. Don't charge it to the game at the end. Like, don't get caught up in this shit just because you hear one news station say something. Same goes, this is like Fox News people, CNN people. I know I have people on both sides of the aisle watching this. Like, don't get caught up in the sauce. Joe Rogan got into some shit because of the whole ivermectin thing. CNN essentially misrepresented the story. Like, dude, ivermectin it's a thing that's won Nobel Prizes. It's been used on humans in large doses. Yes, it can be used on horses, just like a lot of other medications can transfer over from dog to, like, you can use your dog's anxiety meds. And I'm sure a few of you guys started crushing up your dog's meds and just sort them just to have a little fun on a Thursday night, you know? But they dishonestly told the story, blah, blah, blah. But Sanjay Gupta went on. They had a good conversation for the most part. And then there's a clip going around of Joe Rogan kind of putting him under the fire, like asking him, like, why wouldn't you tell them that this was not fucking true? So it's like, check out the video. I can't play it because of copyright stuff. But it's just, I think the Joe Rogan hate is unjustified. And if anybody wants to talk to me about it, I'm so willing to have this conversation. I just don't, I'm not even like a Joe Rogan bro like that, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that he hasn't said anything stupid either. I'm just saying, like, overall, I think he's a net positive for the world. He's allowing people, especially in a time where people are really trying to control speech. If we go too far with the speech shit, think about when family members, if you ever, like, families that don't talk about shit. I make that comparison because at the end of the day, we need to be able to, some kind of communication. And if people aren't allowed to communicate authentically, like if that's put under duress and shit like that, that's when things in society can get really, really fucking bad. Like, think about not knowing how people are generally feeling. And we do that by talking. So it's if you don't agree with one of the agenda sides 100%, they will position you as the supervillain. You're that issue's, whether it's that week or that month, you're that issue's supervillain if you're not touting their agenda. So keep your head up, guys. Keep your head up. Don't succumb to this Joe Rogan hate, guys. Don't. And if anybody has anything to the opposite of that, let me know. You know, I'm always down to listen. We're about halfway through here, and we're keeping these at around 20 minutes just because I think 20 minutes is nice. get you up. Hopefully at the end of this, you're like, all right, fuck yeah. Dave Chappelle special. I feel weird critiquing anybody's art, really. If I don't like it, I've gotten to this point because as a person that makes it, you just become more like empathetic to people just putting themselves out there. I might say it's not for me, this and that, and I can give objective stuff, but I thought it was a great special, all things considered. One of the best ever, and it wasn't necessarily for the jokes or the laughs, right? So that was a big criticism. It was like, oh, this ain't that funny, blah, blah, blah. I think he's had funnier specials, but here's where this special fucking really kicks ass, is on a cultural level, in my opinion. Because ever since this special was released, there's been walkouts planned at Netflix because from some transgender groups and whatnot, because they thought he had some transphobic comments, and they wanted the special removed from Netflix. The Netflix CEO not only like gets Dave Chappelle's back, but he does it multiple times. He does it 2 or 3 times within like a 10-day span, where he comes out and says, we're not removing the special. We have a bunch of different pieces of content. We need to be open to other points of view. And this is, to me, the first time a corporation has done that, has been, they didn't succumb to the potential like, oh, this is going to look bad for us, this and that, which is kind of fucking huge. That his words or whatever, well, I feel like it's almost has put cancel culture at a tipping point, if not has already pushed it over. Because that to me is a little bit unprecedented in this whole cancel culture thing. I know that's a hot thing right now, is cancel culture. Some people are annoyed at just the phrase. The phrase is kind of like, ugh. But it is what it is, man. There's some kind of culture war going on. Free speech is it's one of those things that are being used in this war. And Dave Chappelle special, I think, was a net positive for that movement. If you are about free speech, I think this is just my opinions, guys. These are Dolocast. We get perspective. We might get silly. To vax or not to vax, that is the question, right? If you've listened to this before, you already know I don't like to get excited one way or another. You've just seen the information change so many times too, and justifies the whole thing. Don't get too fucking, because we don't know where the information's coming from, right? The newest news in the vax or not to vax saga, the infinity saga of vax or not to vax, is the Kyrie Irving. I sound like a fucking idiot. Kyrie Irving is a basketball player for the Brooklyn Nets, decides not to take the vaccine. He is guaranteed to lose 17 million if he doesn't do it, but then also the potential to make 196 million. So to me, that's 96 million. That's including bonuses and everything like that. I've said this before. Listen, if you do or do not take the vaccine because of your health, that's cool. Great. Good for you. I think you're at the end of the day, you're legitimately worried about your health. But make sure that you ain't caught up in this political bullshit. Don't take the vaccine or not take the vaccine because your political party takes the vaccine or does not take the vaccine. So figure it out. Don't be like, I'm not a sheep. Figure it out. Don't die because you're trying to politically posture out in this bitch, right? You want to be healthy when you politically posture. And there's overwhelming data now. I think we're at the point now where enough people have been vaccinated where it's safer, whatever, this and that. So I don't agree with Kyrie's. I think, I don't know. If he's legitimately worried about it, it's a gangster ass fucking move. I don't agree with the move. Maybe I think people should get vaccinated. Don't care if you don't. Don't give a fuck. Zero. But it's pretty cool that Kyrie's fucking, he's willing to forego 196 mil and be like, fuck it. And a couple episodes ago, I was laughing at people who were like, these are my rights. I am not getting the vaccine. But then they had to get it because they want to take a trip somewhere. They want to go to Hawaii. They want to go to Hawaii, so they got to get the vaccine. Oh, your principles broke for the trip to Hawaii. Your principles broke with a prize from The Price is Right, bro. You ain't got principles. You got negotiation. Bro. I think it's cool that Kyrie Irving is giving up that money. I think anybody that can say fuck you to that kind of money, there's a level of gangster in there He also believes in flat earth too. So I don't know what to tell you. You know, that's becoming more prevalent. I was hanging out with a buddy of mine, and he was with a girl that he's been seeing for like 5 months, and he was like, he's like, bro, you got to see these videos. And I'm like, dude, are you just a sucker for good editing and like music at the right time? You know, music that's supposed to tell you how to feel. Doom, doom. He's like, oh shit, yo, did you see that? The girl that was with him was like, fucking, yeah. She's like, no, I know. She was detaching herself from that part. She's like, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure this part out. Flat Earth. I don't care, right? I was driving with somebody in the car, and they were like, I don't think the clouds are real, because that's another one. I said, my nigga, turn up the radio, please. That's it. That's all you got to do. Tell them to turn on the music or turn it up. Fucking to vax or not to vax. What you guys doing? This is crazy. I thought this is something nobody wanted to talk about, and it's the most talked about thing. I tried to lay off of it, but you know, people are quitting their jobs. Does anybody know anybody directly that has had to leave their job? Let's start there. Let's think about that, right? Because we're seeing videos of people telling you they're quitting their job, but let me know if you know of someone that's actually had to move jobs like that because they don't want to get the vaccine and they're getting fired. All right? Guys, that was a FredTalk podcast. We're keeping these short and sweet just to get talking a little bit. Shout out to Dead Crow Comedy Club. I performed there in Wilmington this past weekend. Crushed it. It was the crowds there are always so fucking good. Real down to earth people that are down to laugh. So if you're in Wilmington, please check out Dead Crow Comedy Club. Even if you just need a good place with an outside patio to drink, they have a sick setup. So please check them out over there at Dead Crow. Subscribe, rate, and review, and please keep sharing my stuff, guys. I'm bringing you content. Patreon will be dropping fairly soon if it hasn't already. I'm just lining up a bunch of stuff, baby. We gotta upgrade in the studio, and y'all are gonna see it. So that is it for me, guys. Bye.